Samford Valley, and you've had a little bit of a look around. The place looks magnificent, sun shining, people everywhere on a Saturday morning. And to continue with what we've been working on over the last few months, we're going to interview these guys and find out a little bit more about Derek and Della and the people behind Samford Valley. So firstly, thank you for having us here again. It's always a pleasure to visit, and you've turned the weather on fantastic.
No problem.
It's just great. So we had a little talk before about how long you've been in garden centres, that sort of thing. We'll get to that in a moment, but it was quite fascinating. Like, we really are after some background, some nitty gritty, dirty stuff.
We're in trouble.
How did you guys meet?
It's all yours.
We both were part of the Uniting Church when it first formed. So Della came from a Methodist background, I came from a Presbyterian. Her brother was the leader of the Methodist youth group, I was the leader of the Presbyterian youth group. So we met through one of the youth activities once we joined.
Yep. And you were saying before that you've just had your 40th wedding anniversary?
That's correct, yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we're 1 year behind you, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic.
And met at a Uniting Church Youth Group, by the way.
Yeah, we did as well. Yep, we did.
There you go.
So you've had Samford Valley Garden Centre for how long now?
18 years
18
now.
years?
Yeah.
So just tell us a little bit about what was like before Samford Valley Garden Centre. How did you get into garden centres? What was your background?
Okay. So I came out of school wanting to be a phys ed teacher, but at the time you had to have a really high OP, it was then, and of course they got mine wrong, so I didn't get that. So my second love was plants. My dad always loves plants, and he and I used to travel garden centres all the time. So I ended up, my first job out of school was in a garden centre. So I've worked since I was 17. So just a few years I've been in that, and I've worked both wholesale and retail.
Yep. And Derek, you came from a bit of a different background.
Yeah, the family connection with Della was that I actually worked for her father's company in admin, and I moved into sales over a period of time after being their admin manager after a number of years. So I did that for quite a while, and then we'd had a go once before at a small business which failed, and one day I decided that I would walk away from sales and become a transport operator, and 25 years later I just sold the business in the last 2 years, after having 25 years of running my own trucks all over southeast Queensland.
Yep. So you guys live here at Samford Valley.
Yes.
Just up the road. We've been to your place where it's very exciting to see a growing area starting to develop. You've had your family here. Tell us a little bit of
So we both grew up in Kedron.
Okay.
We lived in the church house. Was our first house. We then bought my grandparents' house in Kedron.
Yep.
We moved from Kedron when our children were in grade 1 and 2 over to Everton Park. We stayed there for about 10 years. Our daughter had a horse, so in Everton Park, believe it or not, and we were looking for acreage. So we ended up out here probably 20 years ago.
20 plus years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. So our kids were teenagers by then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Excellent. And so you've been on this site for 18 years, or both sides?
Both sides.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So there was a site just up the road.
just over 16.
Yep. And we've been working with you guys since I think 2018.
18, I think.
Yeah,
18.
just before COVID.
And it's just been fantastic just to see the garden centre become what it is now.
Yeah.
It's great to see it so busy. What are some of the changes that you've seen in the last 18 years, really? How is garden retailing different now?
Wow, yeah. I think you guys changed our world, basically. I think you gave us direction, which is what we needed. I mean, I knew the old-fashioned way of growing plants and selling plants, but the old-fashioned way is not the way. I think it's the old grid pattern and sort of, having a markdown bench and all that sort of stuff. Whereas now we don't have one of those. So it's quite exciting to just keep the stock up and looking good. I think the IKEA sort of type of walkthrough was a big thing for us.
Yep.
I know Tracy told us to move our cacti display onto the pathway, and our sales went up 30%.
Yep.
I had no idea why, but then all of a sudden it's like, that's why.
Yep.
So yeah, and I mean, everything you guys have told us to do, we've had a go and it's worked.
Yep.
So we really appreciate, what you've done for us. It's changed our world.
Yep. And I mean, we love seeing it develop. We love seeing the success of what's happening, and you've still got a great story
there's
in
more
front
to
of you.
do. Yeah.
We're only partway through the story.
Yeah.
And it's just brilliant. I've seen what sales have done.
Yeah.
And I still think you're only halfway to where you're going to be.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
And and that's just wonderful to see unfold, and we're excited for you.
Thank you.
And it's fantastic to have you as part of the network group.
Yeah, we love meeting up with everyone too. It's been great just to have that common interest, but everyone's so excited to be together. It's wonderful.
Yeah, we quite often say that that nothing will change if you don't change.
Yeah,
Yes.
And
so
what your success is the fact that you're being prepared to change.
Yeah.
You're being prepared to listen and to do things a different way.
Yeah.
And it's just brilliant. So as I said, we are here on a Saturday morning. There's lots of people here, and we won't hold you guys up any longer.
No, thank you.
And get to work.
Thank you.
I know